What's going on, everybody? Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you are excited to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, something that we cannot stop doing. We love talking about America's team. We love doing it with you. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into it because minicamp season is here and it is moving along. The Dallas Cowboys holding their minicamp. Obviously, it is a mandatory minicamp, and not that the Cowboys have had any issues with any players showing up. We talked about in a recent video how the Cowboys are fortunate that a lot of players obviously live there and train there already. So things working out really nicely for America's team, which is a sentiment that Mike McCarthy shared when he spoke, obviously, to the media on Wednesday. Now, Mike McCarthy noted the Cowboys were in a better place. He was specifically asked how things compare this year to last year. And if you look at Mike McCarthy specifically, and I don't want this to sound like I'm making excuses for him or trying to cape for Mike McCarthy, but remember that Mike McCarthy took the entire 2019 season off. He was specific about that. And we know all about this. Obviously, we've talked about it a number of times. He had the McCarthy Project. He filled out a whole barn, obviously, in his old home in Wisconsin. He talked about, by the way, shopping for a home in the Frisco area on Wednesday as well. And he was very purposeful. He had a plan, and he obviously, had a number of opportunities. Remember, when he interviewed for the head coaching gig with the Dallas Cowboys, he also interviewed for the jobs with the Cleveland Browns and the Carolina Panthers. And so he had a plan, and obviously our whole world has been turned upside down since March of 2020. But Mike McCarthy, his first go at being the Cowboys head coach, wasn't anything like he envisioned. He didn't even really have a chance to interact with players. Randy Gregory is somebody whose name has been thrown out a lot. He's obviously spoken himself, and we're all rooting for Randy Gregory. Mike McCarthy mentioned on Wednesday that at this time a year ago, he had never even met Randy Gregory, obviously because of all the things going on, all the limitations, all the social distancing, and all of that. So Mike McCarthy talking about how the Cowboys are easily in a much better place this year, which is very good to see. We hear so much about team chemistry and how that is a big thing with teams that have success. The Cowboys have always had a really tight group, at least in the Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott era. And so seeing that group be allowed to be a group by nature of the world coming a long way over the last, 14, 15 or so months is good to see. So very nice, very optimistic note for us to get started on. Let's move on to somebody else who had a very good day on Wednesday. I was going to say Tuesday, but that would have been wrong. And I'm glad I wasn't wrong. Neither is this man, except when it comes to chess, like we discussed on Tuesday. Micah Parsons is now officially a member of the Dallas Cowboys. This term gets thrown out every year when rookies sign their contracts, and you know how it is. Football is a business, and so things are not official until the dotted line has a signature on it. But Micah Parsons signed his rookie contract with the Dallas Cowboys. NFL Network was the first to report on it. Shortly after Ian Rappaport dropped the tweet, Micah himself jumped to the Instagram. He shared some photos. You can see him. He's happy. He's bright. He's sunshiny. His whole future with America's team is ahead of him. We're all rooting for him. All very excited to see where Micah Parsons goes. And like I said, Micah, work on the chess game because Amari Cooper, very pumped to have defeated you this week already. Honestly, though, this is great news. You don't have to worry about this. And we really haven't had to worry about this. It's been a long time since rookie holdouts were a thing. Shout out, of course, to the 2011 CBA that instituted the rookie wage scale. Every now and then you see something really weird where a rookie does manage to hold out. Joey Bosa with the Chargers kind of comes to mind. But it's really just a matter of time until rookies sign their rookie contracts with their NFL teams. Micah Parsons, the latest one. Congratulations to him. Number 11, linebacker, edge rusher, wherever the Cowboys decide to use him. We are all very excited to see what his future holds. Now, obviously, Micah Parsons heads this rookie class, and we're all very excited to see what it can offer. And last year's rookie class was one that we were very excited about. And I think we're still really excited. We want to see what CeeDee Lamb offers in 2021. We're definitely really excited to see what Trayvon Diggs offers in 2021. Another rookie from last year, from the class of 2020, that we are very excited to see this season is, of course, center Tyler Biadasz. Now, we've talked a lot about the Cowboys' offensive line. We talked about them specifically on Tuesday, and Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins, and how they're coming back from injury. That's a big story, right? Tyron Smith, Lyle Collins, even Zach Martin, all healthy now. Dak Prescott has said that Tyron Smith is in the best shape that he's ever been in, so QB1 speaking positively of his teammates. But Tyler Biadasz in the center of all that, no pun intended. Obviously, the Cowboys drafted Tyler Biadasz. By the way, the Cowboys have now had a draft day trade with the Philadelphia Eagles 2 years in a row. It was with the aforementioned Eagles that the Cowboys traded up in the 4th round of last year in order to draft their center of the future. And it appears that the future is now. Tyler Biadasz is playing very well. That is all the reports coming out of the Star in Frisco. And to be fair, there isn't a whole lot of competition for Tyler Biadasz at center. And I'm not trying to take away from the positivity here, all the sunshine, all the rainbows, all the good energy, but it's not like there are a lot of people coming for that center spot. It's not like it was last year where you had somebody in Joe Looney who had done it before and done it specifically for the Cowboys. Tyler Biadasz, this is really his job to lose just from a competition standpoint, but it is nice to see him kind of taking the reins here. The center position is obviously a difficult one in the NFL. Not a lot of people can make it look easy their first season as a professional. Obviously, Tyler's predecessor, Travis Frederick, is one of those people, and we miss you, Travis Frederick, very much. But Tyler Biadasz really elevating his game as a center for the Cowboys could go a long way. We're a long way removed from the Cowboys offensive line being the top tier group in the National Football League. Obviously, that 2016 group was unquestionably the best when it came to the rest of the competition in the NFL. And while they're not number one, I mean, there is, I think sometimes people fall into these like national narratives and these national things to kind of lean on. And I think that if you talk to people, maybe you have some family or some friends, maybe that's what could you call like friends who are really good friends, family? Is that like a thing? I don't know. But either way, maybe you know somebody who is like, man, the Cowboys have the best offensive line in the NFL. And it's okay to say that they don't. It's okay to say that their offensive line is hopefully going to be better in 2021. Namely, it's hopefully going to be healthy. That would go a long way in making it better. It's definitely a top 10 group, maybe top 5 on a really, really, really good day. But Tyler Biadasz taking that next step as a center, as the middle, as the orchestrator, the architect of that entire group would go a long way at establishing their legitimacy in a new era, because while Tyron Smith said he believes he can play 4 to 5 more years, the reality is that we are much closer to the end than we are at the beginning of Tyron Smith's career. Who knows about Lyle Collins' career, Zach Martin's career? We mentioned Travis Frederick. His retirement a year ago proves to us just how short an NFL player's career can be. So seeing Tyler Biadasz grab the ropes, grab the reins, whatever they're called, and really kind of announce himself as a legitimate force on this offensive line is something that would be very cool to see. Now, we move on, and we talked, obviously, we've been talking because it's an important thing and a very important theme when it comes to this time of year. Patience. Patience, as they say, is a virtue. Patience is an important thing when it comes to June, July, even August in the National Football League. You don't want to push players that aren't ready. You don't want to risk any potential injury. I mentioned the San Francisco 49ers on Tuesday and how they're already suffering injuries. You want to be smart. You want to be cautious. You want to be overly cautious. You want to go above and beyond to be cautious, because think about it as Cowboys fans here. We've been waiting since October of last year for football to mean something again. And so you don't want to get crazy and blow whatever this season might offer you just because you're too anxious and too antsy. So all that being said, the Cowboys are taking the right and the smart and the methodical approach when it comes to their star wide receiver, and that is, of course, Amari Cooper. He has an ankle issue. Mike McCarthy addressed this again himself on Tuesday. Again, I keep wanting to say it's Tuesday. I don't know why, but on Wednesday in his press conference that he held before minicamp practice began, and he mentioned that Amari Cooper will not practice throughout the rest of minicamp. He said hopefully he's ready to go by training camp. By the way, Mike McCarthy still non-committal to Oxnard as the training camp destination for the Dallas Cowboys. That's because it's not official. He can't say it's going to happen until, like Micah Parsons signing on the dotted line, things are in pen and paper. But that's a whole different subject. Amari Cooper, be smart, Cowboys. This is the thing. Do it right. Do it this way. We do not want to see Amari Cooper hobbled or not completely himself. We know, you know, I know that Amari Cooper, when he's fully healthy, is a legitimate threat in the NFL. He is perennially underrated. Right now, you've got a lot of people talking about who are the best wide receiver duos in the NFL after the Tennessee Titans traded for Julio Jones because A.J. Brown is so good. I don't know where Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup rank. I really don't care. What I know is that Amari Cooper has been gold for the Cowboys ever since they traded for him in the middle of the 2018 season. And so they have to preserve the life associated with Amari Cooper, the life of his NFL career, And we mentioned, we've talked about this week as well, whether the Cowboys have any interest in trading Michael Gallup or not, or moving on from Michael Gallup next year, whatever the case may be. If the Cowboys are going to hold on to Michael Gallup and see what this season brings with him and decide who they want to hitch their wagon to in the future, Gallup or Amari, well, they've got to be able to see Amari at full strength to kind of know what they're either going to give up or latch onto. And so be smart with this, Cowboys. I love this. I love that they're taking their time. I love that they're being patient. There is no cons associated with this. This is the true, the total, the right way to play this. Now, we move on to another offensive skill position, and this one's really interesting because we talked obviously about how if the Cowboys did move on from Michael Gallup, that they do have 2 tight ends now that they can rely on. So if they did have to abandon 11 personnel, they could play out of 12, obviously, because Dalton Schultz really obviously surprised a lot of people last season, filling in for Blake Jarwin for a majority of the season. Now, Blake Jarwin's still coming off that injury, and obviously that takes some time. Not everybody's able to bounce back in the same time frame. No real reason to worry, but in the meantime, with Blake Jarwin making sure he's all good to go, that is providing Dalton Schultz with some more opportunities. And this is good. I don't know anybody that's upset by this either, because the more depth you can have, the more options you can have, the more players like Dalton Schultz who are not on the bubble in terms of being cut, but on the bubble in terms of, are they really truly legitimate starters? Are they role players? I mean, we have to figure that out. And so the Cowboys need to take every opportunity that they can, every rep that they can, every chance to get Dalton Schultz playing with the ones to really see this, because Dalton Schultz, while he did play a little bit with Dak Prescott last year, for a majority of the season played with Andy Dalton as his quarterback. And so we haven't truly, totally, absolutely seen this offense with Dalton Schultz week in and week out, with CeeDee Lamb in that mix week in and week out. And so yielding that information is what this time of year is for. Dalton Schultz, I think, look, it's a contract year for him too. And I don't know that I can buy the Cowboys necessarily giving him a second deal unless they decided to move on from Blake Jarwin next year, which isn't necessarily impossible. But these are hypotheticals and questions that you can only answer if you gather all of the information, which it seems like the Cowboys are doing. So Dalton Schultz getting his opportunities with the starters, definitely something that I think we're all pumped to see. And if you want to see it, well, here he is, courtesy of DallasCowboys.com. Good for Dalton, beating Jordan Lewis. Some friendly competition there. It's nice to see. I mean, right now, this time of year, that kind of stuff, we just eat it up. I mean, these are the dog days of June. We got to get through these. It's about a little bit, maybe about a month, maybe 5 more weeks before things are truly, totally sizzling. We're all very excited about that. Something else we are clearly excited about. I think it goes without saying that this is the thing we are the most excited about when it comes to the 2021 Dallas Cowboys, and that is Return of the Dak. Oh yeah, that song I think is perennially underrated as well. I actually love the Burger King commercial. I don't know if it still airs, but that had Return of the Mac, because that song is on there. It makes me love that commercial all the more. But Dak Prescott earning incredible praise at training camp. And why wouldn't he? I mean, we all know, we all believe, we've known and believed for a long time now that Dak Prescott is that dude. I don't know anybody that, logically doubted Dak Prescott. You definitely know somebody in your life who didn't and probably still doesn't understand that Dak Prescott is among the very elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. His comeback story is obviously beginning as he's coming back from the ankle injury, and that's something we're going to get to in a moment. But Dak Prescott, according to all reports, looks incredible at training camp. And I mean, that is amazing. That is amazing that a man whose ankle was in the situation and the position, all sorts of positions, that we saw it in last October, is the story in terms of players looking solid in mini camps in June. I mean, it says a lot about the inner will, the inner drive of Dak Prescott, which is something that is really inspirational in a lot of senses. Dak Prescott, over the course of the last year, has really developed a larger following, if that was even possible, as the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, because he stands for so many great things, because he is this inspirational person. And for so long, I mentioned that you likely know somebody who used to doubt Dak Prescott. I would guarantee you that you have had an argument with somebody before over Dak Prescott's leadership and what that means, because that used to be a thing that people would say, oh, he's a great leader. He's a great leader. And the common response to that was, well, what does that even mean? What does that offer? How do you measure that? What tangible value does it offer that he is a great leader? Well, I tell you what, Mike McCarthy, who is obviously Dak Prescott's head coach, seems to believe in Dak Prescott. Let's just hear from Mike McCarthy himself.
He reflects he reflects exactly, I know what I'm looking for, and he definitely reflects what the Dallas Cowboys are looking for in their players, in the people that represent this organization. And this is, in my view, this is his team. I mean, he's the face of the locker room, and he's the guy that I want to lean on the most.
Very impressive words from Mike McCarthy on QB1 of the Dallas Cowboys. Some of this stuff is, and I'm talking about other NFL teams, can be fluff, right? It can just be the things that people say, these offseason sorts of tropes. That's not Dak Prescott. Like it. You can believe as a Dallas Cowboys fan that your team has that dude as QB1, which is a really, really, really comforting feeling. Now, Dak Prescott obviously is who he is because he never settles, he never stops, he's relentless, obviously, in his pursuit of greatness, and we're all believing that the greatness that we all want to see by way of Super Bowls and things like that is on the way. But to get there, Dak Prescott has to obviously move on from what happened last season, and obviously that injury is something that's hard to shake visually, but it appears that Dak Prescott really wants us to do that. Dak Prescott said when he met with the media himself that he has buried the injury. He said he's buried it mentally, and in talking obviously to the pool of reporters he was speaking to, said, and I think you guys and a lot of people around have to help me and bury it as well as we move forward. Put that right on the tombstone. I mean, Dak Prescott, like I'm saying, like it's more than that he's an incredible quarterback and an incredible person, but there's a lot of psychological power to just moving on from an injury like this. And it appears that Dak Prescott is completely on track to do that. And so we'll bury it. We'll bury it, Dak Prescott, because it makes sense, right? Like, and this happens. And it's fair for these questions to be asked because Dak Prescott is a notable player on a notable team and plays a notable position, and he got paid this offseason, right? Like there's all these storylines encircling him, and obviously the injury is a linchpin in a lot of those. And the injury is, people wondered, is he still going to get paid? I mean, it has been this thing ever since the moment it happened. And in that sense, though, if you were Dak Prescott, wouldn't you be really sick of it? And I love that. I love that Dak is saying, look, man, the injury happened and we've all gone through it, but we're here now. We're working. We're getting ready for mini camps or we're already in mini camps. We're getting ready for training camp. We're getting ready to play a season. We have a goal. And obviously the Cowboys' goal was, kind of ripped out from under them last year with this specific injury. And so it appears that Dak Prescott is ready to move on, and I think we should all take his advice and move on and start focusing on the things that they're doing well. I mean, kind of like hooking up with each other, all right? Dak Prescott and Michael Gallup were apparently the connection from Wednesday's action. A tweet from the Dallas Morning News, as Michael Gelkin noted, Dak Prescott lobbed a couple of fade route balls out of bounds in the short red zone, including on 4th and goal. We like going for it on 4th and goal. Kellen Moore, please listen to us. But later rebounded to find wide receiver Michael Gallup with a back shoulder touchdown versus Trayvon Diggs in 11-on-7. Multiple TD connections between those two. An already strong chemistry grows. We've talked about this before on our podcast, on different videos. Obviously, Dak Prescott has great football chemistry with a number of players, a number of teammates. He is who he is for that specific reason. But the Dak Prescott-Michael Gallup connection is one that was really on fire, not just in 2020, but in 2019. Michael Gallup went over 1,100 yards in 2019. People forget that. And he was on pace to have an incredible season, obviously, before he had to deal with Andy Dalton and Garrett Gilbert and Ben DiNucci as his quarterback week in and week out. And so to answer a question we posed ourselves here on the channel on Monday, should the Cowboys trade Michael Gallup? I'll answer that question like this. The New York Post reported on Wednesday that Mark Sanchez was among the people that CBS had interview for a potential analyst job. They apparently interviewed Alex Smith and Mark Sanchez and Sean Lee, by the way. It'd be interesting to see Sean Lee on television. But Mark Sanchez has been really great. He's had a podcast. He does all these media appearances now that he's retired. But Mark Sanchez's career was fading off into the distance 5 years ago. In 2016, he was the Cowboys' backup quarterback. Now, at the time, Dak Prescott spoke glowingly of Mark Sanchez. And he talked about how Mark, because look, everyone remembers the butt fumble and things like that, but Mark Sanchez's first 2 seasons in the NFL, he took the New York Jets to the AFC Championship game. Now, granted, they lost, but that is still an impressive achievement. It's an impressive accomplishment, and he did it in an incredibly large market, obviously for a loud and boisterous team and a loud head coach in Rex Ryan. And if you don't know, Mark Sanchez would tell Dak Prescott when Dak was a rookie and the Cowboys were winning all those games, you don't even realize what you're doing right now. And that makes sense. Like when you're so raw and you're so new to it all that you don't realize the intensity of the moment. And obviously Dak Prescott is more seasoned to this point that he understands how difficult life in the NFL can be because it is so hard to come back the next year and have sustained success. I bring that example up for the purposes of saying that I was a proponent for keeping Mark Sanchez as Dak Prescott's backup in 2017. And the reason was, if Dak Prescott likes Mark Sanchez, then I like Mark Sanchez and you like Mark Sanchez. Whatever Dak Prescott wants, Dak Prescott gets because he's the franchise quarterback. The whole thing revolves around him. And so to get back to Michael Gallup here, I mean, if that is a connection that Dak Prescott really loves, then forget the idea of trading him because he makes Dak Prescott better. Michael Gallup, I mean, this with all respect to Michael Gallup's own individual game because he's an incredible wide receiver that is also slept on nationally. If Michael Gallup, by extension, makes the best player on the team, who is Dak Prescott, all the more great, then don't even consider trading him. Yes, he might walk in free agency next year, and we'll deal with that then. We'll get the comp pick in 2023. But if Dak Prescott has great chemistry with Michael Gallup, don't mess with it. Leave it alone. Have a good time and carry on. So, minicamp's going well. I'm pretty pumped about it, and I hope you are too. Everything that's happening with the Dallas Cowboys, we will continue to discuss here on the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. Make sure you do subscribe. We have videos coming out all the time, every single week. We have film reviews. We have live discussions. We have live streams. I mean, we have lots of fun things that we're doing, and we're not going anywhere. I know it's the off season. I know it's the dog days of June. We are here 24/7, 365. So subscribe and look forward to great things coming your way. And I really hope a lot of great things are coming your way. All right. I hope that you have the absolute best day of all time. I hope whatever your next meal is, I hope it's the greatest meal you've ever had. Whatever the next movie you watch is, I hope it's the best movie you've ever seen. Whatever song comes on shuffle next, I hope you know all the words, you sing your heart out, and you just have the best time ever. You know why? Because you deserve it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.